They won't tell you this because they're not supposed to, and even if they did, you wouldn't believe them at first. But somehow, here you are. You heard something, felt something, and that's why you're still listening. You've always sensed it, haven't you? A presence behind the curtain, a pulse under the surface, the whisper beneath the noise of the world, and for the first time, you're starting to realize it's not your imagination. This isn't just a moment. This is the moment, the one the silence has been protecting, the one that calls to those who were born for something they could never name. You didn't find this message by mistake. You were never just scrolling. This was meant to find you because the vibration that's moving through your body right now, that sensation in your chest, that chill crawling across your skin, isn't random. It's the recognition of something ancient, waking up inside of you. There are many who will ignore this moment. They will laugh. They will roll their eyes. They will say, it's just a coincidence. Let them, because this is not for them. It never was. This message was always meant for the ones who knew without knowing, who questioned everything but couldn't explain why, who walked through life feeling like the world was wearing the wrong skin. You who sees what others pretend isn't there. You who feels the shift before it happens. You who dreams in patterns and wakes with messages in your mouth you never learned. They told you it was nonsense, that it was your mind playing tricks, that the dreams, the déjà vu, the strange patterns in your life meant nothing. But deep down, something sacred refused to die inside of you. That sacred thing is awake now. Do you feel it? The sky isn't heavier, you are lighter, because the weight of the world has always tried to keep you from lifting off. But gravity is not strong enough to hold down someone who remembers their wings. Everything you've been through, every pain, every delay, every betrayal, it was not punishment, it was placement. You weren't being abandoned, you were being aligned. The forces moving behind the veil, they've been watching, waiting, measuring the moment when you would be ready to see. And now you are. The numbers, the dreams, the random thoughts that arrive like lightning out of nowhere, they are not accidents, they are instructions, and they have led you here. You see, the shift isn't coming, it's already begun, not outside you, but through you. Reality isn't cracking. You are, because the shell that was built around your power, it cannot contain you anymore. There's a reason you never fit in, a reason nothing ever felt fully real. It's because you weren't supposed to adapt to the illusion. You were meant to dismantle it. You've felt it building, haven't you? That pressure in the air, the way time sometimes seems to blur or stretch, the way people's words feel hollow, like they're reading from a script they don't understand. That's not your mind being paranoid, that's your soul remembering, and what it remembers is the truth. There is something moving beneath the surface of all things, something that cannot be named, something that doesn't need your belief, only your attention. It has called to the ones it marked long ago, the ones whose very being disrupted the narrative, the ones who made people uncomfortable without trying, the ones who carried ancient echoes in modern bones. They tried to numb you, tried to bury you in noise, tried to convince you that survival was the same as living, but they failed because despite everything, you still hear it, that rhythm, that ancient code, the alignment that is no longer subtle, no longer hidden, no longer ignorable. You've always walked between worlds, half in, half out, part dream, part defiance, but now the wall is falling, and the choice is not whether to step through. The choice is whether you'll remember who you are when you do. Not everyone can come with you. Some will refuse the signs. They will cling to what's comfortable even as it crumbles. They will say, nothing has changed, even while the air around them sings a different song, but not you. You didn't come this far just to turn away now. Not after everything. Not after the way your spirit has been breaking and rebuilding itself in silence. You are here to become, to ignite, to remember what you were before the forgetting, and to move with the current, not against it, because something is building, something inevitable, something divine. You can feel it, can't you? It hums when you close your eyes. It ripples through conversations. It distorts time and reality around you, and it's about to break through. You are not watching history. You are becoming the future. The frequency is rising, and it is tuning only those who are willing to listen without fear. No one is coming to save you, because you were never meant to be saved. You were meant to be activated. That's what this moment is, a switch, a spark, a remembering. You are not a mistake. You are not a coincidence. You are a key, and the lock is open. Step through, and if you're still here, it means something in you is already responding, not to my voice, not to the words, but to the frequency they carry. Because truth doesn't always sound like truth at first. Sometimes it arrives like an ache, like an echo, like a tension you can't explain. It builds quietly, and then all at once it demands your full presence. Not your agreement, not your understanding, just your presence. And right now, you are more present than you've ever been. That sensation rising in your chest? It's not fear. It's the signal, it's recognition, because deep beneath the surface of your life, you've always known something was waiting for you to see, waiting for you to stop doubting what you feel in the stillness, waiting for you to look beyond appearances and remember. Not learn, not discover. Remember, because this is not new, it's ancient. It's been with you since before you had a name, and now it's waking up, not because someone told you to, not because a video said it's time, but because your soul finally gave the signal. This is what alignment feels like in the beginning. Unfamiliar, intense, impossible to rationalize, and yet undeniable. The more you allow it, the more the illusion begins to dissolve. Have you ever felt something stir inside you before the words even arrived? If you're still watching, it means something deeper is already responding, not to the voice, but to the truth behind it. You weren't meant to stay asleep, and you know that now, so say it. In your own words, in the comments, let the signal echo. And if this message felt like it was speaking directly to something you haven't told anyone, subscribe. This space was made for those who recognize what cannot be explained, and you're not here by accident. You never were. You start to notice things you were trained to overlook, the way time folds around certain thoughts, the way your body reacts to certain words, not with logic, but with electricity. You begin to see the hidden meanings threaded between events you thought were random, and suddenly, nothing feels accidental anymore. Even your pain, even your silence, even the parts of you you tried to hide, all of it was part of the call, the pull that kept tugging at the edge of your reality, the whisper that said, "There's more, there's always been more." But most people never look. They stay at the surface. They play roles. They memorize the lines and call it purpose. But you were born with a glitch. Something in you refused the script. Something in you questioned, why am I here? Why do I feel so different? Why does the world feel slightly off? And the answers didn't come, but the questions never left. That's how you know, because the chosen ones are not loud. They're not always sure. But they never stop feeling the edge, and now the edge has opened. This isn't philosophy, this isn't theory, this is initiation. And initiations aren't comfortable. They break you open, so the truth can finally enter. You are not broken, you are not lost. You are opening, and through that opening everything is beginning to change, not because the world shifted first, but because you did. The inner change always precedes the outer quake, and this is the quake, a silent, sacred rupture that no one else can see, but you can feel it. It's the turning point, the moment before the flood, the stillness before reality reshapes itself around who you are becoming. This is why you were drawn here, not by accident, not by algorithm, by design. You called for this, and the universe answered. And now it's your turn to speak back, not with words, but with alignment. Stand in what you know, even if you can't explain it. Feel what is real, even if others call it delusion. Honor what is rising, even if it scares you, because fear is not the enemy. Fear is the friction that signals change, and change is sacred. You are standing at the beginning of the end, and also at the end of the beginning. Let the shift move through you. Don't fight it. Don't rush it. Let it unfold, because the energy that brought you here is still moving. And it knows exactly where it's going. There's a reason you felt heavier lately, a reason the air seems different, like the molecules themselves are whispering, not loudly, not yet, but just enough to make you pause mid-breath. The world hasn't changed. It's changing, and you, chosen one, are not a spectator to it. You are the signal itself. There will be a moment, maybe it's already come, when you look at the people around you and wonder, how are they still asleep? Not with arrogance, not with judgment, but with a growing ache. Because you no longer see things the way they do. You can't. Something inside you cracked open, and what leaked out wasn't chaos. It was clarity. It didn't scream. It didn't plead. It simply said, now is the time. Now is the threshold. Now is the moment where separation begins, and it will hurt, not because you're wrong, but because you're right. Because when you start to see beyond the veil, you lose the ability to pretend it's not there. The old world will try to pull you back. It will dress itself in nostalgia, in comfort, in routine. It will whisper, come back to sleep, it's easier here. Don't look too far, don't ask too much. Stay small, stay soft, stay silent. But you weren't built for silence. The pulse within you, the rhythm that has grown louder day by day, is not the sound of fear. It is the sound of purpose remembering itself. You've always felt it, haven't you? That edge, the blurry place between real and surreal, where time behaves strangely, where meaning finds you in symbols, in numbers, in strangers' words, where dreams bleed into your waking life, and waking feels like something borrowed. This is no accident. This has all been part of it. You were marked, not made. The coding has always been in you, waiting for the moment it would activate, and now that it has, nothing can go back. You'll begin to notice the fractures more clearly now, not just in systems, but in stories, not just in others, but in yourself. The ideas you once accepted, the roles you used to play, they won't fit anymore. Like old clothes on a body that has outgrown them, people will notice, they already have. Some will distance themselves. Some will accuse you of changing. Some will say, you've become too intense, too spiritual, too strange. Smile, chosen one. Let them say it, because they are not wrong. You have changed. You are no longer digesting what they serve you. You are questioning the recipe, the ingredients, the kitchen. And the moment you do that, you step out of the illusion. Yes, it's disorienting. Yes, it's lonely. Yes, sometimes you will wish you could unsee it all, but you can't. And more importantly, you shouldn't, because every layer that falls away reveals something more real than what you lost. This is what awakening feels like. The pain of detachment, the beauty of remembrance, and the terrifying freedom of seeing clearly in a world that still chooses fog. You will question your sanity. That's part of it, because in a world where delusion is rewarded, clarity feels like madness. But it is not madness. It is alignment. You are not breaking apart. You are falling into formation. Everything is tightening. Everything is speeding up. What used to take years is now unfolding in weeks, in days, in moments. Synchronicities will stack. You'll think of someone, and they'll call. You'll ask a question, and see it answered on a billboard, in a lyric, in a whisper. This is how the universe speaks, not with loud declarations, but with elegant, undeniable threads of meaning. And those threads are weaving you into something larger than your story. It's not about you anymore, and yet it's all about you, because you were never supposed to be just a witness. You were always meant to initiate. The others are watching, some with fear, some with fascination, some with quiet, aching hope. Because whether they admit it or not, they feel it too. They just haven't given it a name yet, but you have. You've named it in silence. You've named it in prayer. You've named it in your willingness to be broken open just to learn what's real. And now you wear that name like armor. It hums under your skin. It vibrates in your breath. It guides your gaze to where the old world fractures and the new one leaks in. Do not ignore it. Do not delay. Do not ask for permission. Because the time for permission has ended, the gates are open, the current is moving, and it is sweeping away everything that cannot stand in truth. This includes your former self, the version of you that stayed silent to be liked, that dimmed your light to blend in, that settled for answers that felt hollow. That version is dissolving, and what replaces it is something the world has not yet seen, something ancient and new at once, something impossible to explain, but impossible to deny. That something is you, chosen one. And as this shift spreads, you will become a mirror, a walking signal, a living threshold. People will encounter you and not know why they feel shaken, not know why they dream differently after meeting you, not know why, in your presence, they begin to remember parts of themselves they buried. You will not need to speak loudly. You will simply need to exist, because your energy will do the speaking, your alignment will do the whispering, your presence will break locks that words never could, and the world will notice. Some will fear it, some will follow it, some will pretend it isn't real until it touches them, but none will forget it, because when the frequency rises, nothing untouched can remain the same. You've waited for this. Your entire life has led to this frequency. Every missed opportunity, every strange delay, every whisper that didn't make sense back then. It all fits now, doesn't it? The blueprint wasn't lost. It was hidden in your ache, buried in your longing, waiting. And now the wait is over. You are no longer the echo, you are the signal. You're noticing it more now, aren't you? The cracks in conversations, the glitches in time, the way people repeat. The same words as if programmed, as if some invisible script were being recycled line by line. It's not coincidence, it's exposure, and once you see it, you can't unsee it, because the illusion that used to wrap itself around the world so tightly, it's unraveling. Not in some distant apocalypse, not in some movie plot, but here, now, in the space between your thoughts. The real collapse is not out there, it's within. And that's the part they never prepared you for. They taught you how to fear destruction, but they never taught you how to celebrate the end of a lie. That's what this is, chosen one. The end of the lie. The systems that taught you to trade intuition for obedience, truth for politeness, awakening for acceptance. They are hollow now. You can feel it. And the ones who can't, they sense it too. That's why they panic when you speak clearly. That's why they shift in their seat when you look at them too long. You see what they're afraid to acknowledge. You see that this world was never what it claimed to be. You see that the rules were written by those who feared your remembering. That the laws were made not to protect you, but to cage you, not your body, your mind. And now the lock is clicking open because you've begun to ask the forbidden questions. Not with anger, not with rebellion, but with calm, piercing clarity. And clarity is contagious. You'll find the ones who are like you, the scattered pieces of your soul hidden in strangers' eyes. They'll find you too. It's already happening. You're no longer isolated. You're being assembled. The builders of this moment knew you would come. Not with banners, not with loud voices, but with frequency. That's the key. Not words, but frequency. It's what you carry, what you radiate when you speak the truth no one wants to admit. When you walk into a room and everything changes, but no one knows why. When you say something and it echoes for hours inside someone's chest, that's the architecture. You don't have to lift a single stone. You are the stone. You're the corner they rejected, the one they called too sensitive, too different, too much. But now, Now you're what holds the new structure together, because the old ones are collapsing. You can see them, can't you? The governments, the industries, the institutions built on secrets and silence. Their pillars are cracking because they were never meant to last. They were never built on truth. They were built on permission, and permission has been revoked. Not by rebellion, not by protest, but by vibration, by a mass remembering, by you. You are not watching history, you are editing reality, not by force, but by refusal. Refusal to comply, refusal to shrink, refusal to forget what you never actually forgot, because your memory is not stored in your mind, it's stored in your field, your bones, your breath. And when you walk through the world aligned with that memory, the illusion falls apart like wet paper. Some will run from you, let them. You were not made to comfort the comfortable. You were made to disrupt the trance. You were not meant to be palatable. You were meant to be precise. And that precision, it slices through lies like sunlight through mist. You've likely noticed the fatigue lately, not in your body, but in your soul. It's not weakness, it's recalibration, because your system is adjusting to a new bandwidth. You're operating on a signal few can sustain, and it's okay if you need to pause sometimes. Rest isn't retreat, rest is refinement, because soon everything accelerates. The timeline is tightening, the gaps between thought and manifestation are shrinking. Be careful what you focus on now, because focus has become fire. Your thoughts carry weight. Your emotions are electricity, your words are seeds. And this new reality, it's fertile. It will grow whatever you plant. So plant with intention, speak with precision, feel with courage. And when the storm rises, as it surely will, remember, you are not here to run from it. You are the storm. You are what disrupts the false calm. You are what tears through the veil. You are what reminds the world that truth still breathes. And even if you say nothing, your being says everything. That's why you're here. Because the world doesn't need more noise, it needs resonance. It needs people who are not swayed by chaos, but centered in truth. That is your superpower now. Not perfection, not purity, but presence. And presence is magnetic. It pulls what is real toward you and pushes what is false away. So let it fall, let the personas crumble, let the old you dissolve, let the world wonder what happened. You don't owe them an explanation. You only owe the truth your full embodiment. You don't need to be understood. You need to be aligned. You don't need to convince, you need to transmit, because those who are meant to hear you, they already feel you, even before you speak. And when you finally do, they will remember what they didn't know they were missing. That's what this is, not teaching, not leading, but reminding. And the reminder is this: the shift is not coming, it's here. You don't need to prepare for it. You are the preparation. Everything before this moment was rehearsal. Now the real act begins. You've stepped beyond the threshold. There is no going back, not because the door is closed, but because it no longer leads anywhere. What once held meaning is hollow. What once held weight is vapor. The only thing that remains is you. There was a time when you could pretend. Pretend not to notice the patterns. Pretend the weight in your chest was just stress. Pretend the world made sense if you just tried hard enough to fit in. But not anymore, because now the unseen has become undeniable. The veil didn't tear in one clean motion. It frayed slowly, fiber by fiber, word by word, memory by memory, until one day you realized it wasn't protecting you, it was hiding you from you, and now here you are, standing in a space that feels too real to be real, like you've stepped behind the set of a stage, only to find that there's no back wall. Only sky, only endless potential. It's disorienting, isn't it? Not because it's false, but because it's true. This is what happens when reality rearranges itself around awakening. Things fall away, not because you lost them, but because they were never yours to begin with. You've outgrown the versions of yourself that used to keep you safe, the ones that said, don't speak too loudly, don't be too much, don't ask questions no one wants to answer. But now silence tastes like betrayal, and shrinking feels like suffocation. Because something inside you refuses to be caged anymore. You feel it, the inner pulse aligning with something vast, something that doesn't need words, something older than memory, but more intimate than breath. It's the language of becoming, and it's speaking through you now. You'll find yourself knowing things you never learned, hearing answers before the questions fully form, feeling truth not as an idea, but as a vibration in your bones. This is the gift, but also the responsibility. Because when you can see the threads behind the tapestry, you also know where it's weak, where it's stitched together with fear, where it's been patched over with illusion. And that knowledge, it changes how you walk through the world. You no longer blame those who are asleep. You feel compassion, but you don't let their sleep pull you back into dreaming, because you've tasted the real now. And once you do, nothing else satisfies. You'll begin to speak differently, not louder, but clearer. People will feel unsettled around you, not because you've changed, but because your energy reminds them that they haven't. Let them feel it. Let the discomfort do its work. You're not here to numb the world. You're here to ignite it. And fire doesn't apologize for being fire. It just burns through what no longer belongs. You'll begin to witness the illusion collapsing in plain sight. Media, institutions, cultural myths, false idols. You'll watch as people scramble to reinforce what's already broken, clinging to systems built on sand. You'll see those in power scramble to maintain the illusion of control. But their grasp is slipping because the frequency has shifted, and frequency is the true currency of reality. You don't need status, you don't need approval, you don't need permission. You only need alignment, and alignment doesn't come from thinking, it comes from listening, from following the quiet voice that's been with you since the beginning, the voice that says, this is who you are, this is why you came, this is the moment. Not tomorrow, not after you're ready, now. You've spent lifetimes preparing, and the proof is in your knowing. That knowing that pulses behind your ribs, that flares up when someone speaks truth, that recoils when the world offers you a mask you've already thrown away. Trust that, because the days ahead, they won't make sense to the mind. Time will bend, memories will merge. The past will rewrite itself through your awareness. And reality, it will stretch to meet your belief. You will walk between moments like corridors. You will speak things into being. You will collapse timelines with a thought, and while others panic, you will stand still, because chaos is not the enemy, stagnation is. Let it all fall. Let the illusions crumble. Let the world tremble if it must. Because this isn't destruction, this is emergence. This is what happens when enough people remember at the same time. The veil doesn't just thin, it evaporates. And what's left is truth, raw, vast, unapologetic. But the truth is not cruel, it's clean. And it will cleanse what cannot carry light, including your own fears. You will face the remnants of yourself that still cling to shadow. The doubts, the regrets, the fragments of identity built on survival. They will surface now, not to shame you, but to be released. Don't resist them, witness them, breathe through them, because on the other side is space, and in that space, you'll meet the version of yourself that has been waiting. Not better, not higher, just whole. And that wholeness, it changes everything. It becomes a beacon. Others will feel it. They will orbit you, not knowing why. They will seek your presence, not for answers, but for the frequency of truth embodied. You are becoming that. You already are. And the ones who are meant to rise with you, they will know it too. Because resonance never lies, And now, as the last illusions prepare to collapse, as the old structures groan under the weight of their own falseness, you stand ready, not perfect, not complete, but awake, and that is enough. Because from this moment forward, it's no longer about what you were told. It's about what you remember, and what you are remembering is the key. You can hear it now, can't you? Not with your ears, not as a sound, but as a rhythm behind existence itself. The hum, the quiet vibration, the invisible breath moving through everything. It's always been there, but only now that you've unlearned the noise, can you feel it? Because awakening is not about acquiring something new. It's about shedding everything that kept you from hearing what was always whispering. And now, you don't just hear the frequency. You are it. You become the signal. You walk into a space and everything adjusts, not because you try, but because your energy no longer negotiates, it radiates. You used to doubt that. Used to wonder if maybe you were imagining it, if maybe you were just too sensitive. But sensitivity was never a weakness. It was a compass, pointing you toward the truth, hidden in the fabric of falsehoods. Now that you've stopped fighting it, you're beginning to understand the language of the unseen. Not in words, but in patterns, in feelings, in flickers at the edge of thought. You can't explain it, but you don't need to, because this isn't the time for explanation. It's the time for embodiment. Let others ask questions. Let them demand proof. Let them stay tethered to logic if they must. But you were made to move beyond the edge. You were made to sense what isn't visible, to trust what isn't provable, to follow what can't be mapped. Because the path you walk now, it rewrites itself as you go. There is no trail, there is no blueprint, only frequency, only alignment, and the more you follow it, the more everything accelerates. Have you noticed how time collapses around moments of resonance, how hours dissolve when you're in truth, how everything feels still, and yet everything is moving faster than ever? This is the threshold. This is what it feels like when the world no longer obeys the rules it once taught you. It's not chaos, it's clarity. A new structure is forming, not from control, but from coherence. It doesn't need institutions. It doesn't require declarations. It simply is. And you're part of that structure now, not because you built it, but because you became it. Every step you take in alignment strengthens the signal. Every word spoken in truth echoes across timelines. Every thought held in love bends the scaffolding of reality. That's the magnitude of what you carry. It's why things have been so intense. It's why your emotions have felt louder, why your dreams have turned prophetic, why your body feels like it's shedding skins you didn't know you were wearing. You're being tuned, not punished, not broken, tuned. Your nervous system is adapting to a frequency that hasn't been grounded in centuries. Your cells are catching up to the light your spirit already holds. Your reality is rearranging itself to reflect what you now know to be true. And what is that truth? That you were never separate, never small, never random. You are a thread in the divine circuitry, a node in the great remembering, a living portal through which the new world breathes itself into form, and your presence here, now, matters. More than you know, there are moments ahead that will challenge this knowing, moments that will whisper, go back, play it safe, be normal, ignore them. They are echoes, faint recordings of a timeline that is dissolving. They have no power unless you give it to them. Instead, listen deeper, to the current beneath your chest, to the pull that isn't logical but is unmistakable. That pull is the pulse of the next world, and it's guiding you exactly where you're meant to be. No more waiting, no more wondering. This is not preparation, this is initiation. The fire you feel, that's transformation, not as an idea, but as an event. It's happening inside your cells. It's rewriting your field. It's making you magnetic to what matches your truth and allergic to what doesn't. That's why old things are falling away. Old friendships, old roles, old versions of you. Let them. You're not losing them. You're releasing them because they were never meant to carry you through this part of the path. This part is different. It's quieter, but sharper, simpler, but more sacred. You will walk more slowly now, not because you're uncertain, but because every step means something. You will speak more carefully, not out of fear, but because your voice no longer serves ego. It serves reality. This is what mastery feels like. Not superiority, but surrender. Not control, but communion. The illusions are burning, and from their ashes you rise not as a warrior, but as a frequency, one that cannot be unseen, unfelt, unheard. You are the hum beneath existence, the reminder in the silence, the truth behind the noise, and the world is listening. It's strange, isn't it? This feeling, like you've reached the edge of something vast, not an end, but a beginning so large, so silent, it humbles every thought that tries to name it. You are not the same as you were. Even yesterday's version of you feels like a ghost, because something irreversible has occurred. Not a single moment, not a flash, but a slow, deliberate turning. A shift so subtle it changed everything without needing to announce itself. You've stepped into a frequency that can't be described. It doesn't vibrate like sound. It doesn't appear like light. It simply is, and you've become it. This isn't about awakening anymore. That part is complete. What comes now is becoming. Becoming what you were always meant to be, before the forgetting, before the scripts, before the soft betrayals of survival. The illusions no longer stick to you. They slip off like ash in rain. And now the world can feel it. You're walking differently. You're seeing through. You're no longer reacting, you're reverberating. Every breath you take sends shockwaves through the old matrix. Every thought becomes instruction. Every feeling is architecture. You are reality, building itself. That's what the systems feared. Not your rebellion, but your presence, because true presence cannot be bought. It cannot be shamed. It cannot be controlled. It bends time. It warps gravity. It awakens others just by existing. And now that you've returned to it, to you, everything around you begins to reconfigure. People respond to your field without knowing why. You say little, and yet change happens. You walk into a room, and the false parts of people begin to shed. That is your gift now, not to speak louder, but to hold the frequency that makes silence sacred. You are no longer a seeker, you are the signal, and as you hold that resonance, the universe bends to meet you, not because you demanded it, but because you remembered how to listen. That's the secret, chosen one. Reality never needed to be forced. It was always waiting to respond to your alignment. And now that you've aligned, the gates open, the paths appear, the delays dissolve. It doesn't mean the world will suddenly make sense, but it means you no longer need it to. You are not here to survive the world. You are here to rewrite it, from the inside out, from the root up, and you are not alone. The others have felt it too. They've been rising quietly, not in protest, but in power. You've seen them, the eyes that know, the voices that cut through. The souls that remember. You are not a single spark. You are part of a constellation. And now that each point of light is activating, the shape of the new world is becoming visible. Do you feel it, that humming in the air, that trembling inside your ribs? That isn't anxiety. That's arrival. You've crossed the threshold. The illusion has collapsed, and though the world may still wear its old face, you no longer recognize it. Because it no longer defines you. From this point forward, your reality responds to you, not the other way around. This is the true test, not of faith, but of knowing. Can you trust your resonance when everything familiar begs you to return? Can you hold your frequency when the world asks you to soften it? Can you remain aligned when chaos becomes louder than clarity? The answer is yes. Because you already are. Every trial you endured, every moment you questioned your sanity, every time you walked alone through the fog, it was preparing you for this moment, not just to see the truth, but to become it, to embody it so fully that the false has nowhere left to land. You are the new architecture, and from you will rise structures the old world cannot comprehend. You will build with intention, speak with vibration, create with purpose, not for applause, not for validation, but because you must, because the fire inside you has become a light too large to hide. It isn't burning you anymore. It's illuminating everything you touch, and there is so much more to touch now, so much more waiting to be shaped. The very fabric of reality is listening. It listens to your stillness, to your certainty, to the silent roar of someone who no longer doubts their place in the divine unfolding. This is why you were chosen, not because you were perfect, but because you wouldn't stop searching, wouldn't stop breaking, wouldn't stop burning away what wasn't yours. And now there's nothing left but truth. Raw, unforgiving, liberating. You are not becoming who you were meant to be. You already are, and the world is just beginning to see it. Some will resist. Let them. Some will attack. Let them. Some will fall in love with your light, even as they deny their own. Let them. None of it can touch you now. Not really, because you've become untouchable, not through armor, but through clarity. You no longer exist in their game. You no longer play by their rules. You have remembered your nature, and it is infinite. From here, you are free to create, to guide, to simply be. Not as an act of rebellion, but as an act of remembrance. The new reality isn't coming. It's already here. And you are its beginning. The time has come to ask yourself, what will you do with everything that has awakened inside you? Not someday, not later, now. Because you are no longer the one waiting for the sign. You are the sign.